Are we on? Okay. Well, I think it's 6 o'clock. I can't read the clock back there, but I believe that's what it says. Close enough at any rate. Welcome to the November meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission. Glad to see some people here turned out tonight, so welcome, and we'll hope that we have a good session. So call the meeting to order, and the first item on the agenda is to adopt the agenda. So what is the pleasure of the commission?
Make a motion to adopt the agenda.
It's been moved and seconded that we adopt the agenda as presented. All in favor, raise your right hand. Okay. Old business. You've had a chance to look at the minutes from the last meeting, and there were some changes that were made, but those are reflected in the material that you have. So what is your pleasure about
Well,
the minutes?
I do have a small correction.
Okay,
The agenda says minutes for 10/6, and the minutes say they're from Tuesday, 10/8.
well, I don't have a calendar. Ron?
Taking a look now.
I'll look it up.
It should be the 6th, Tuesday the 6th.
Okay. So that's changed then, so. Any other changes? Or corrections? Have a motion?
Yeah, I move that we accept minutes as presented.
Been moved and seconded, all in favor? Okay. New business, Ron?
All right. Do you have the... I have the stuff that you... One moment, I'm sorry, sir. That was... Okay, I got it. Okay. So first and foremost, I want to say thank you to everyone in the audience for your patience tonight. We had some last-minute staff changes, so I want to thank Whitney for being able to fill in for us tonight. As we know, Kirsten is out on COVID leave. She has been for the past week or so. That's our normal board secretary. So we've had to do some scrambling today in order to get everything prepared correctly. So I do thank you for your patience.
You say she's on COVID leave?
She is, yes. She has to be out on COVID leave for 14 days.
But she does not have COVID, does she?
She does not, no.
Yeah, okay.
But as a precaution. So.
Okay.
Our first item under new business tonight is RA-02-20. This is 450 Edge Road. This is a rezoning application from C2, commercial medium density, to I2, industrial medium density. And the proposal is to construct a 347,760 square foot warehousing and distribution facility. The comprehensive plan I did take a look at the comprehensive plan, and it is partially supported. This is a split designation for this property. The western half of the property is considered industrial character area, and the eastern part of the property is in the I-20 gateway character area. And we did a couple analysis here, and we have some conditions as well that we indicated on page number 7. 5 total conditions. Because of the the size of this facility and the expected amount of truck traffic, there had to be some thought into the entrance and exit scenarios for the property. And as they are presented in the site plan, we made sure we took a look at the development ordinance or development code for the city to ensure that we're not going to be snarling an area with truck traffic. So therefore, in the conditions, we did put some restrictions on truck traffic movement on and off of the site. So there was some left-hand turn only, right-hand turn only, and for entrances and exits on Liberty and Edge. So there's only two entrances and exits here that's being proposed at this time. The applicant's representative is here as well to answer any questions for you. That's above and beyond what I can answer from a zoning perspective.
I had a question, not so much about the left turn here, but the left turn coming off of I-20 on Liberty Road headed east. Because right now that's almost, not impossible, but a very difficult left-hand turn onto Liberty Road. And I didn't see any discussion, any chance of improving that.
You're saying going north turning left to go north onto Liberty?
Right, right. I mean,
Yeah.
it's hard now.
Yes, it is. It is hard. The current, if you were to actually look at page 7 of the staff report, I did mention the driveway distance requirements for GDOT from a ramp. I had some conversation and correspondence with the applicant earlier today, and that is 230 feet in that one distance from the ramp to a driveway, and it appears that they're actually going to meet and exceed that by an additional 6 feet, so 236 feet based on their plan. However, even though it might meet those regulations and the city engineer understands that that regulation is going to be met, it may not necessarily be the safest. So he's recommending 300 feet, which would basically make them unable to construct a driveway on that side. So that's something to consider, but it's something that the engineer, once plan review actually is underway, would have to work out with the applicant. It's not necessarily something for this stage, but it's something that we would have to advise you and let you know of.
Well, but that's on the property itself. I'm concerned about the off-ramp from I-20 and turning left onto Liberty Road.
Right.
That
There's
doesn't
no traffic light that has been that is a part of these specific plans, but there would be a traffic study that would be necessary and needed, and that's actually condition number 1 that we place as well. So if the traffic study indicates that a light needs to be placed there, for example, because of this facility, then that's something that the applicant and the city engineer and GDOT would have to work out.
Who does the study?
Yeah.
It would be a private firm.
Do
And
we
who-
hire them or do they hire them?
The applicant hires them.
Okay.
They still have to pass
They have
GDOT.
incentive to do what the boss wants, the folks paying them won't do it.
Sure, and you know, the thing is, even if that is their incentive, they would still need to pass GDOT, and you know, GDOT is an additional check for that.
Because would they have to pass GDOT even though there's both their county roads, they're not state thoroughfares?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because that was one, because I live not very far from here,
Yes.
and I travel this road pretty much daily. As other board members noted, that a left-hand turn right now is somewhat dangerous making a left going northbound on the Liberty, as the cars crest the hill heading southbound towards the interstate. Also, you have trucks that park along Edge Road on the truck stop's property, that's their property, they park where they want to, but it does create a sight issue, a hazard almost to see around, you have to be very, very aware. I'm just not sure, we're talking about a 350,000 square foot facility, so we're looking at how many bay doors, 50, 70 doors, so you're looking at maybe 50, 70 trucks a day onto a very narrow edge road. I don't mind the idea of development whatsoever, but it just seems a little bit, I read the left turn, right turn type thing, but essentially you could make a right turn into it off the interstate, but you'd have to, every truck that came in there off that right turn, when it left, it would have to leave on Edge Road. And Edge Road's not in the greatest condition anyway. I'm not sure it can handle this kind of traffic. It's just not wide enough. Maybe we could talk about a decel or widening Edge Road, or some sort of traffic light intersection, something. I'm not opposed to development whatsoever. I'm just, in that particular spot, you're talking about 53-foot vehicles entering and exiting on top of essentially a crest of a hill. I don't think that's a good recipe.
So the engineer also has indicated to me that acceleration and deceleration lanes on Edge would be required in addition to Liberty, of course. They would have to be on Liberty. And, you know, I do understand that there may even be needs for turning lanes and what have you on Edge, but that's something that...
Because when they pull out, nobody's going to make a right on the edge. They'll get back to the interstate. That's what it does. So they're going to make a left on the edge, and you
Right.
only have approximately a quarter of a mile between Edge and Liberty. So they're coming out, they're going to essentially block any traffic that's going to be going westbound on the edge, and more than likely any traffic's going to be going eastbound there. I just think you're setting up for a pretty bad traffic situation. You do some really good planning with traffic studies, decels. It'd have to be a real number. I'd be really hesitant until I saw a traffic study to agree with this.
It almost seems like this traffic study has got to be first thing done here.
It comes usually much later in the process.
I think another factor, but related to what Mac is saying, is the parking on the south side of Edge Road, where they're parked in there next to the truck stop, gas station stuff.
Pilot.
That encroaches onto Edge Road quite a bit, a lot of times. And people, it makes it very tight in there. I think one of the things that might ought to be looked at is enforcing parking requirements there on that truck stop, because they let the back ends of their trucks and vehicles and things kind of extend out into the right of way.
Oh yeah, and I've definitely seen that going past Edge Road, and that definitely, you've said it, that's really an enforcement related issue that we would have to tackle really as a department, I guess. That's the only way to do it, and with the police involved. So
Well, let me ask the $64,000 question.
Sure.
Is this a spec building or is there somebody coming?
It hasn't been indicated to me. I would have to defer to the applicant.
Yeah.
Well, before this traffic study gets started, we have to approve it.
Correct, yes.
Not necessarily. No.
Or you can, of course, deny it or what
Well,
have
but
you. It's your prerogative.
But the applicant is not
some-
going to pay
for
for
some
a traffic
reason-
study without something, so.
For some reason, it sticks in my brain that there is not necessarily an intended buyer, but they've already got things lined up to use this property as mentioned in the application. I think there's, Mac, I don't know, I don't have an exact answer for you, but it seemed like I have heard that there is pretty concrete plan for use of it as soon as they can get it developed.
I looked at the LIT Acquisitions LLC, and I looked up Texas as well, and it looks like they are just a property holder. They're not at least nothing I can say they're affiliated with any other company that I knew of. But I did a little research on them, just Secretary of State type stuff, and it looks like they hold property.
Yeah.
Their property holder. Because that's who the applicant is LIT. Because I think they're based out of Dallas. Texas.
Did you say the applicant is present?
Yes, sir.
Could we hear from
Absolutely.
the applicant in
Sure thing.
response to some of these concerns?
My name's Andy Sitzer, I'm with Clarion Partners.
Please use the podium.
I'm with a company called Clarion Partners, and we are a company as a real estate investment management company. And to answer your question about LIT acquisitions, it's just a special purpose entity we use to buy property. The property will then be put into a large fund, which is called LIT, or Line Industrial Trust. It's about a $15 billion fund that owns probably about 150 million square feet around the country. We are long-term holders. We're not a developer where we flip to someone else. This is a spec building, to answer your question, Mr. Flowers. And we realize that there are some conditions here we got to go through to see the feasibility of this project through. And I'll be glad to answer any other questions you have. That
Yeah, I guess I'm asking, I mean, I see the overall plan, I mean, what, we're talking about, I mean, I guess you don't know at this point, we're talking about 24-hour operation, we're talking about 50 bay doors, what we're talking about?
I don't think we have doors laid out yet, but as a rule of thumb, you're probably looking at one door per 5,000 feet, so that's 60 plus. Yeah. Again, it's a spec building. We don't have any idea who a user is. You know, the use will ultimately determine 24 hours or 2 shifts or 1 shift. It all depends what they're going to do in it.
But it's not a manufacturing facility?
Not a manufacturing facility.
Is there any other entrance or exit? I read the study or the application. Is there any other entry or exits that have been considered other than the ones that are on the application?
I don't believe so. Lauren, do you want to address that?
Hello, I'm Lauren Lair. I'm with Eberly and Associates. We're the civil engineer. So for the entry and exits on Liberty Road, that is really our only option as far as that actual, you know, that's our only piece of property right there for us to get it. As far as Edge Road goes, we were unable to move it even closer to Liberty Road, which I also think would probably not be as ideal, but Edge Road sits much higher than our site. So in order to get the, normally it's less than 6% for trucks driving, we had to push it down to the edge, as well as that's also an existing driveway.
So you're just going to use, if I'm reading you right, you're talking about using the driveway that's already there that Nasser used?
Yeah, the same driveway cut will probably improve on the pavement sections and everything, but it's the same driveway cut.
And you talked about putting some sort of decel or off of the edge or just off of Liberty?
So currently, we're showing one off of Liberty, but we don't have one off of Edge Road. But I think that we can add one there if needed.
But it's gonna be a left-hand turn only, right?
Left-hand turn out for trucks only. We were asking for cars to still be allowed to turn right if necessary, just in case if anyone lives over there, they would have to go out right on Liberty, then right on Edge to get where they were going, rather than just turn right out of the property. But trucks would be directed to turn left only.
Do you have, so there,
Okay, thank you.
plans for, you don't intend for traffic to go west on Edge Road all the way over to, and wind up on 61 or go to the other entrance on the I-20 down there?
No, that's not our plan. We think that the trucks would use the I-20 ramp right on Liberty Road. The only reason we'd want the right ability is if any employees had a reason to go home that way.
Okay. Because I don't think Edge is capable of handling a lot of semi-truck traffic.
It already handles a good bit, John. We've got
Well, I know,
this spot right here is East-West Transport.
I know.
They
I know there is. All you have to do is ride up and down there, you see it all. But surely we don't need to add any more on there.
Now that I'll agree with, yeah, don't need to add anything more to it.
Now, there is another warehouse, if you will, just off of, not in this area, but if you, of Connors Road on, what's the highway? You know, just over, it's east-west,
Yeah. Off of Danny Road.
yeah.
Yeah, that's where they travel. They go from issue is right here. This is my issue, because if you measure, you got two tractor trailers 53 foot, you're back to here with just two trucks. And then they've got to make a left. This is a knoll coming over from south on Liberty. They've got to make a left, and they've got to clear a turn lane and 2 lanes to make the left to go to I-20. I just think it's a traffic safety issue at that point in time for everybody in that area. You come over that hill at 45, and there's a truck 53 foot blocking all both lanes. You're locking it up, and you're going underneath the back right axle.
Well, again, it all befalls the so-called traffic study.
Yeah. Which I'm not sure why can't we, we're talking about a multi-million-dollar investment, traffic study can't be a couple $1,000. Maybe the current owner of the property, Mr. Nasser, who seeks to have it rezoned, might be wishing to pay for that study. It might help him get his property sold.
Boy, I really think we need that.
I just think we're creating a bottleneck situation. I think we're creating a hazard situation. I have no problem with development. I got no problem. I mean, obviously, 345,000 feet will build a lot of jobs. People are working in there, and that's good. At the same time, you know, a paycheck ain't necessarily worth so bad you kill over.
Yeah.
If you can afford it. That's what I'm concerned about.
You mean creating a worse
Yeah.
bottleneck?
More dangerous
Yeah.
situation than we already have. And maybe that's part of the issue. Maybe it's not all the applicants' issue. Maybe it's the problem is it's already there, and we're just worsening something that's already there.
Yeah.
Well, if somebody wants to sell it, seems to me, you know, they have an obligation. Any more questions for the applicant from the commission? Ron, do we need to have a public hearing? No. Well, at this time then, we'll have a public hearing on this item. If anybody who wishes to speak for or against this commission, please come forward. State your name and address. Please come to the microphone.
Good evening. My name is Jay Patel. Our company is Sukmuk Investment, which owns the American Inn and Suites, which is located across from the property, the subject property, 615 Edge Road. We've owned this property for the last 23 years, and the traffic has doubled since we first got there. I want to thank first the City of Little Rock for informing us about the rezoning application by LIT Acquisitions. Our company does not have any objections if the city does consider to approve the application. From the conceptual site plan, it can be concluded that the traffic on Edge Road will increase considerably due to the proposed distribution center. A lot of you gentlemen are talking about essentially with the Edge Road and that entrance located at the far west side. Referring to the same site plan, it can include that per number of parking spaces designed, that many employees will work and visitors will visit this location. Also, due to the nature of the business, truck traffic will increase. I think right now, as I forgot who mentioned it, there is a lot of truck traffic right beside our property, and essentially going around, putting it back onto that exit on the west side exit will increase a lot more on the Edge Road, where we would potentially like to see more on Liberty for us, just because of the, I think Mr. Mack said there, the top side of that, right there on the right-hand side, there's a huge hill. And when you come down that hill, if the traffic gets backed up there, there's a lot of people. The speed limit is 35, but I'm not too sure if it's people are going 35 right there. So in addition, some of the recommendations that we have for the committee today is maybe widen Edge Road if that's something we do plan on doing on the west side there. Currently, there's a 12-feet turning lane. If 6 feet right-of-way is available on both sides of Edge Road, if that is something that, once again, the traffic study says or something we could do. If not, another solution or recommendation we're asking for is if the part on the west side is approved, then possibly having a traffic light right at Edge Road and Liberty Road there to kind of help with the traffic flow. Again, these are our concerns right now, just with with essentially the edge road side of it.
Any comments for the speaker?
I think it's just a part, well, I don't know if it's a parcel they're cutting out or not. And Mr. Patel, it's not a question for you, but have you had issues with tractor trailers getting stuck in your parking lot, missing? In my neighborhood I live in, about once every, 3 months or so, we'll have one that gets in there and literally we have to get out in the middle of the night in our boxer shorts and flashlights and literally wave it back. It has to literally back out of the neighborhood. Do you occasionally have one get lost in the parking lot?
Yeah, we do, because when there's, sometimes the truckers comes in and by mistake they turn on the edge road and they cannot turn around. So the middle of the night, they go on the motel parking. And so many times we had to call the police to back them up. Few times we had to wake up everybody's in the parking lot, and then we had a really 3-4 hours. So many times, and the trucks tried to go on the sides and they go on the ditch, and they had to pull it out. So as it is with East-West trucking company there, and all other trucks, by mistake they're turning in. So like we discussed, the edge road is very narrow right now.
Sir, we need your name and address too, please.
Yes, sir. I'm Bob Patel. We own the American Inn as a Sumik Investments.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm the owner of it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, a lot of concerns about,
Well, I would like to make a comment too, please.
okay?
To the front.
Your name and address.
Sam Perkins, 170 Maple Valley Drive. I want to back up what Mac was talking about. The turning lanes on Edge, it's already bad. We've got the trucks that park on the hill. They hang out in the road. That Edge Road over the last 10 years has turned out to be a major cut through for everybody to stay away from the north side. So they come down through there. So that gets real busy. In rush hour times, the hill in front of the truck stop on Liberty, if you've got trucks trying to turn left, you got all the traffic coming off the interstate to get to the truck stop. You got the chevron across, the left-hand turn only for the trucks out of this facility, I can tell you right now, won't last. They'll wind up down in our neighborhood. Because truckers are going to figure out how to get around. They're not going to go up there and sit for 15 minutes to get out. So I would strongly recommend some kind of turning lanes. You're going to have to make a major intersection right there to accommodate this building just to handle the traffic. Or you're going to put there's a lot of residential people back on that end that come through there. So I would just recommend that everybody think about this real hard, make sure we do it in a safe manner. And I agree with y'all. I mean, I'm all for development, but it needs to be done smart and safe. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good points.
Ron, I'd like to, make an observation and maybe ask you a question or two about it. I mean, this property is perfectly located for the type of use that they're requesting here, except that the location is a huge pain in the neck. I mean, it's not perfect in all respects. And so, to make this more usable, I can think of half a dozen things that ought to be done. I mean, we ought to have Liberty Road widened with turn lanes and things of that nature. Edge Road needs to be seriously widened. I think we need a traffic signal right there at that intersection. And you've got a really nice residential area just, 150, 200 feet from this intersection? How far is that down in there? You've got some large homes and a large development. And then it seems to me that Edge Road, several people have made the observation, but Edge Road is already a cut-through to get all the way over to Highway 61. And there's a lot of people that do that. And I've seen semi-trucks back there doing that, and other folks. So, I mean, it's a larger issue, and I don't know how, you can't expect, I don't think, the property owner to solve all of that stuff on the front end, but by the same token, how do we in good conscience agree to let them move forward with development, which generally would make sense, except for the other outside factors all around the property. So I don't know if the city is prepared or willing to work with GDOT, and because it's going to take some GDOT work, I'm sure, out there on Liberty Road, probably, with that impact on the
I-20.
on I-20 interchange, and then the city budget would be impacted, I'm certain, to a pretty high degree back there on Edge Road to do the things that need to be done there. So I don't know. I mean, I see what they're trying to do, and I agree. Generally speaking, you would think this is perfect location for what they propose. However, it's going to create a nightmare.
So a couple things I'd like to draw attention to. For one, as far as the traffic study is concerned, that is a condition, a condition if it's approved. And just like with many of our projects that we've had, especially recently, right? We had a truck stop on the west side of town on Industrial Boulevard. We had ICR, and we had a couple others as well that we're looking into doing expansion activities. And we seem to circle back to these traffic studies relatively frequently. And it is something that's required no matter what the development is. If there is a rezoning, if it's something that's industrial, something that's commercial, or multifamily development, there is no way that they can even the applicant can even receive any type of approvals unless there's a traffic study that's completed and accepted by the city. It's not just completing one, but also accepting it. So if there's deceleration and acceleration lanes, which the engineer has already indicated would be required, in addition to the potential for a traffic light, if not 2 traffic lights on Liberty, in addition to turning lanes as well on Edge Road and potentially on Liberty, but let's just stick to Edge Road for a moment, then it becomes.
Don't forget widening. I mean,
Yes,
Edge Road
yes.
cannot stay at the width that it is.
Thank you for that. Yes, there's, and in addition to widening as well, that could potentially be required. Being that we don't know that at this point in time, and that this is only for rezoning. This is only for rezoning of this parcel, and to ensure that it is compliant with the comprehensive plan. It's something that at this point, no applicant anywhere would agree to a traffic study before there's some type of skin in the game for a rezoning to be approved by the town. Otherwise, they're spending money and don't know if there's ever going to be a return.
That's what speculation's all about.
That is indeed true,
That's what
but
speculation is.
but just to draw the point that I mean, we've in Villa Rica, we're definitely no stranger to the traffic studies for sure, and requesting them and requiring them of applicants. The board has done that in the past. We have done that in the past in the office. The city council has done that. But again, there's so many different improvements that can be done that. Impact fees or off-site improvements that are deemed required by the department director can very well alleviate probably a lot of the concerns that are out there, and that have been voiced already. And we've also even talked about the enforcement aspect of it as well. That's a key part of this. So that's just some things for you guys to think about while you render a decision.
Well, there certainly are no plans that I've heard discussed by the city for widening these roads. And that's going to be a
haven't.
city. That's going to be a city.
Yeah, there hasn't been, but that's something that the applicant, that's why I was kind of alluding to some type of off-site improvements that would be deemed required by the department. That's definitely something that they can still, that they would have to pay for. It's their development, and this is the impact that is being caused by the single development. But that would have to be supported by a traffic study. That there would be an increase, and how much is that increase, and and goes on and on. So,
Well, again, I just call attention to the commission that we're considering the rezoning of this property. And there are a number of very viable conditions that are on that request. So,
yes, there's there is also the fact that, just to keep in mind that, again, even though that there's a lot of parking spaces that are shown on this plan, if this was a commercial development in C2, for example, which is what it's currently zoned, the amount of traffic would theoretically be much higher because it's a commercial
Wouldn't be a
development.
tractor trailer. Wouldn't be tractor trailer traffic.
Granted, yes.
You got a 25-foot car versus a 53-foot truck. So unless it's 2 to 1, you still lose there. I mean, it still is many vehicles.
Right, but as far as like actual ingress, egress of how many cars are going in and out, a commercial development is much higher than any industrial development of this size.
Honda don't have a Jake brake either. That's gonna squeal at 3 in the morning. Man, you ever heard Jake brake at 3 in the morning? That's a little different than a Honda pulling into a Target. I mean, I agree. I get where you're
Indeed,
coming
I understand. I was just drawing the comparison to traffic between two different types of zoning, or two different types of use categories that we have, and that's just based off of our parking requirements and our current zoning ordinance.
Did you have another comment you want to make?
So while a traffic study, will cost us some money, we would like if y'all would consider deferring in order for us to get a traffic study completed and then come up with an agreement with the city prior to continuing, because the improvements that you're talking about would be costly, and we would have to check our pro forma, if that's.
Very good.
That's
Very
actually
good.
fair.
Well, with that in mind, what is the commission's desire?
I don't have.
I-
Seems like a fair idea to me. Ron, you have anything?
Yes, so if you would like to take that suggestion or that request, I would just caution the board to either set a deadline for that, for them to come back before us for noticing requirements for the public. So if that's going to be at the next planning commission meeting, that needs to be in the motion that you would make.
How many months would it take them to get it done, make you ask, Mr. Engineer? Ma'am?
So I'd have to check with our traffic engineer.
Yes, ma'am.
But most likely, they won't be able to do it during the holiday,
So you're talking about 90 days?
probably. Yes, I think that's
So
probably.
we're at December, January, February. You want to say by the March hearing? Is that fair? I mean, is that enough time?
And if we get it done before, we could come in before that. Is that possible?
We got to make part of the motion,
Oh,
so
okay.
what we can do is then I'll make a motion that we table this particular request known as RA 0220, that we table it till the March hearing to allow the applicant to obtain a traffic study and present it at the March meeting of 2021, provided we're all
second.
still here, I guess.
Yes.
I
So
second that.
Moved and seconded that we delay this, table it until March. Any other comments? All in favor? Well, thank you very much. I mean, this is a very desirable project. I think we all agree. But it's fraught with all kinds of potholes if you will.
Ron, what's the story with that parcel on the corner of Edge?
Yes, I'm glad you brought that up. That parcel.
You're trying to figure it out, so I'm gonna ask you.
Yes, that parcel is actually owned by the pilot across the street. We did reach out to the pilot as well, just to because obviously, if that was incorporated with this development, it would make a lot more sense. There, from what we understand, it's something that they're not willing to part with at this point, and it hasn't been a part of this development. So it kind of makes sense that they want to keep it or what have you. I'm not sure what they would ever put there, pilot, but
They park trucks there currently. I mean, they park trucks on that side of the road is what they do. And the truckers walk across the edge to the truck stop and walk back to their trucks. 'Cause they,
Just so I'm clear, is that the little rectangular piece on the southeast corner of the subject?
no, yes, that's correct. Southeast section. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right.
Across Edge Road from the pilot.
yeah.
Okay, well,
A
again,
lot of relief.
That would allow you ingress and regress off Liberty Road, never bother Edge Road if you had that piece. You could literally loop it around and come back out if you had that piece, but you don't. So,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
All right.
Thank you.
okay, next item, Ron, is the RE 0320.
Yes, thank you. So, application RA-03-20 is at 1305 or 1305 West Bankhead Highway, parcel number V0200700483. This is an application by Jim Chapman Communities, and they're requesting a rezoning from AG, single-family agricultural, to single-family attached, SFA, in order to advance the construction of a proposed 200-unit townhouse development. So the subject property is 0.96 acres and would be combined with two other properties just to the north of this for a total developable acreage of about 33.08 acres. The other properties are already zoned SFA. So we're talking about three properties. Two of them are already zoned SFA, and this is the only one that is not. There is an existing single-family home on the parcel that would be demolished in order to create a drive to access those two lots in the rear, in addition to potentially 2 to 4 additional townhomes.
I'm sorry. It's just always easy when you're talking about it, Ron, to look at it.
Now, what kind of townhomes are we talking about?
They're not senior restricted, but they are senior or 55 and up geared, if you will, or advertised or marketed. But it's not a restriction on them. I believe they're all one story, single story townhomes.
One and a half. So our 3 bedrooms have a lofted area upstairs, the 2 masters down below. Our 2 bedrooms have just the two bedrooms.
Ron, you will let
Boom, come on.
Oh yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Name and address?
Sure. Michael Kennedy, 2700 Cumberland Parkway, Atlanta, Georgia, with Jim Chapman Communities. We, our first project is about to sell on the back end in Bogart, Georgia. It's basically what we target is, we call it age targeted but not restricted. The idea is to have single story living. Jim Chapman spent a lot of time doing for sale age restricted for the last decade or so, and now he's gotten into the for rent space, but we do not like to have them age restricted because only about half of our tenants are of the 50 plus variety. The other half of our tenants are what we like to call high level workforce. It's folks that make a very good living and actually rent by choice. About half of our tenants actually sell a home to move into our communities. Our average income in our deal in Bogart is about $110,000. We lease about 20 units a month, pretty much as soon as we can put them on the ground. It's a very desirable product. It's the same kind of exterior, interior that we'd put in our $400,000 active adult home in Woodstock. We don't have below market rents. We've actually got above market rents. We would have the highest multifamily rents in the area, based on the market study that we've got.
What kind of rental are you looking at price-wise?
1,500 for our 2 beds, 1,000 square feet, and 1,900 for our 3-bedroom, which is about 1,400 square feet.
They would not be individually owned, they would be.
It'd be one parcel for the entire deal, yes, sir. It would operate just like a traditional garden-style multifamily community. It's just that we have a different product type. We believe that renters by choice would prefer to have their own garage. We believe that they prefer the single-story living rather than having to walk up 3 flights of stairs with surface parking or parking garage. So it's that's sort of the concept.
Technically, this is not for this is just approval for the zoning, but do you have any plans or anything with regards to what kind of units these are? I mean, can we look at something? And you
Yeah,
said Bogart.
do
Where
you
they
have
out in
the
Bogart?
zoning presentation? If not, I can pull it
That's
up.
fine. Where's your one in Bogart at? Off 10, off 78?
It's
Where's it at?
right off 78.
Okay.
It's called the Cottages at Ridge Point.
Still in Clark County?
It is, yes, sir. It's kind of, it's closer to downtown Bogart than it is downtown Athens, so I call it Bogart, some people call it Athens.
I've been there a long time. Bogart has a downtown now?
What's the name of that development?
Cottages at Ridge Point. So if you go to JCC files and then zoning presentations, that's it right there.
You saying twin masters on one level?
Yeah, it's okay.
What's your square footage per unit on average?
So our, I guess average, it would be 1,200 or so, but it's roughly 1,000, a little bit over 1,000 for our 2 beds and 1,400 for our 3 beds.
And you're saying the single you're gonna try to rent for 1,500?
The 2-bedroom will be 1,500. Yeah, we do all 2s and 3s, no singles.
And the 3-bedroom would be how much?
Would be about 1,900.
Now, you currently own that land. What's to keep you from having done this previously?
We don't own the land. We have it under contract with Jeff Matthews. He's the owner. We currently have his 2 parcels plus this 3rd one that we're looking for the rezoning on under contract. The other 2 are already SFA. The one at the front is what we need to get our entrance in. The easement that goes between
Right,
the two rental properties that he has don't quite
And this is a
allow
question for Ron. If all we're really talking about tonight is just or Mr. Johnson, I apologize. All we're talking about tonight is
If you go
just
down
the
several.
0.96 acreage.
just
So the
trying to show
SFA
the
has
product
already
type.
been approved, so essentially these can be built back there and they're within the zoning plan
Yeah.
already. So we're just talking about taking that one piece of property.
I don't think it's gonna allow you to do
Yeah.
that, yeah.
And only 9,600, 9,600ths of an acre.
Yeah.
Right.
So I don't, quite frankly, gentlemen, unless somebody's got some in-depth, I mean, I don't see anything really to discuss or.
Has this already been approved, this particular, for the development itself? This is just something that's coming
You
in the
just
future?
go, kind of slowly go press down, just show them all the pictures, kind of. Yeah, so these are that's our typical clubhouse, our pool area. That's our clubhouse floor plan. It gives you a little idea of the front of the products that we'd be using.
So these are all single-story.
Yes, sir. 1 and 1.5. The three bedrooms have a lofted 3rd bedroom.
Okay, what's the commission's desires?
Well, don't you have to have public comment?
Oh, do we need a public hearing, Ron?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anybody wish to speak regarding this
You
item?
ain't gonna get $1,900 a month.
I see none, so public hearing is closed. And what is the commission's desire?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the rezoning request as submitted with the recommendations and conditions as applied by staff.
there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay, I didn't think it worked.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Staff comments, Ron?
Great market for that product too.
Yes, sir. We're excited.
When Masters on there, it's gonna be awesome.
Appreciate it, guys. Y'all have a good one.
I get calls every day for something small with,
Match twin spot.
All right.
Jeff is involved.
Sir?
Jeff is involved.
Oh, I know, Jeff ain't got rich by being stupid. He knows what he's doing.
All right, so just I guess a couple just simple comments regarding the holidays that are coming up, right? So we have 2 meetings. Ours are pretty spaced out from the holidays, it seems. Our December meeting is the closest holiday is Thanksgiving, just before that. We're going to have 1 additional application coming our way during that time. I just have to match up the schedule. It just came in while I was on vacation last week. And I haven't even had the chance to look at it yet, but that is definitely one that's coming to you guys, and I think that will be the last one for the year. It doesn't seem like you guys are going to be getting any other applications until next year, so I'm not sure if we'll actually have a need or what have you for a November meeting at all, or I'm sorry, for even a January meeting actually at all, as of right now, because the deadlines are passing. Trying to think if there was anything else. I think that's it. I'll let you guys know if there's anything else, but via email.
All right.
And December, what's the meeting, the December meeting is December 5th, 4th?
Yes, it's somewhere around there.
I got knee surgery coming up.
It's December 1st.
All right, I'll hobble myself in here. I'll be all right.
All right.
Okay. Any public comments? The public is limited. Okay. Adjournment?
I move we adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
I'm in favor. Hey.
I'll make sure a person gets this.
Yeah, give her our sympathy and concerns here.
Yeah. She'll have something to read while she's at home, right?
Yeah, yeah, man, I know, all we're doing is on the property. I mean, it's the